Bill Belichick is in the news, and I find it to be amazing how our perception of this guy has been altered a little bit in the last, what would you say, months, maybe years?
What changed that? Him doing aerobics on the beach? Doing airplane with his girlfriend?
That's one of them, yeah.
What changed your impression of him?
His birthday was yesterday, I believe, right?
You know where it really started, Rich? That Tom Brady roast. You're like, look at him. He's smiling out there, having fun. He didn't look as grumpy.
Yesterday was his 73rd birthday. So, you know what?
Happy birthday.
Hope to be having that much fun at 73.
Well, there's two stories that involve his hot young girlfriend, who, by the way, is running for Miss Maine USA. Did you see that? Oh. She's still a pageant girl. And good for her. First part of the story was when he wanted her CC'd on all of his emails.
Yep.
People said, huh? I mean, I guess, okay. Thought that was weird. And then everybody went man at arms and up in arms at the fact that she's on the practice field, like very prominently there. And, you know, her being attractive doesn't help because she's so noticeable.
Yeah, she wasn't dressed down. She was, like, dressed hot.
Right. And was she necessarily doing anything wrong? Well, that's debatable because the story was, well, why is she there? Like, she's so prominently there. It's like she's in the way. Why is she there? It's like my girlfriend's sitting here while we're doing a show. What's she doing here?
She does clean your headphones right before each show.
I mean, once in a while she'll walk in and you know, give me a massage.
But seriously, there is something to be said about this. Now, but
the update is this, though, Rich.
Yeah.
She was simply doing her job, apparently like making sure the microphones were working properly. It's part of her gig as an assistant producer or something like that, coordinator or producer for a documentary infomercial for NFL Films.
And also,
that's the other side of the story.
Also, the 24-year-old girlfriend, Jordan Hudson, wants to make sure her boyfriend, Bill Belichick, his son, receives the utmost respect. They're saying also she's quality control. The reason she's CC'd on emails and present is that anytime this conversation's about, oh, his son's there for nepotism reasons, and she apparently is like almost handling the administrative nonsense that Bill's like, I got no time for this. So she's sort of being an assistant in a way.
But the vibe is becoming like, well, is she too prominently around? You know why does he need her around so much?
I don't think this is a Yoko Ono breaking up the Beatles situation. I think it's a Bill Belichick has earned this situation.
Well, that's the question.
Yeah.
Fox Sports Radio Nation, just based on some of the stuff you've been seeing and hearing, again, CC'd on the emails, she's on the practice field, again, doing her job, but she's so prominently noticeable. It's a little distracting. We're so used to seeing Bill Belichick be his own guy, and he's out there just being grumpy. Do you think he's crossing the line a little bit, like optically, in a way? Is he crossing the line professionally in any way? Or, as Rich just said, did he earn it? Like, zip it. You're not Bill Belichick. He could do what he wants.
I mean, both could be true. Like, I personally think he's earned it.
I think it's a weird look. I do.
He's the greatest coach of all time, arguably. Most Super Bowl rings. Who's better than Bill Belichick and Tom Brady when they were together? I think he's earned any little perk, especially, Covino, get this. This is not like he took over for Jerry Jones, and he was Jerry Jones' coach in Dallas, or, you know, wow, Belichick, he's the new head coach of the Jets or the Niners or the, you know, Falcons or some NFL team. He's at UNC that historically has a bunk football program. You bring in Bill Belichick, I think you roll out the red carpet. If you're like, hey, Bill, do you and your girl want side-by-side foot rubs during practice? Do it.
Yeah,
he
but
went
you know
to
what happens,
UNC,
though, Rich?
man.
Here's what happens. It becomes online fodder and a distraction taking away from the team. That's the thing. Is she doing anything wrong? No. If anything, it's the fact that she's attractive, young, and hot and noticeable, and people just can't stop talking about it because it's an unconventional relationship.
But I don't understand how we think this is going to negatively affect Bill Belichick. I look at it this way. The only argument you could give on the other side is you could tell me if you work from home, you're just as effective. But there's a part of me that's like, maybe not 100%, right? Like, I could work from home. It could, but even if you're 99% effective, you're still losing 1%. When you do, this is almost like bring your kid to work day. When you bring your kid to work, let's say your kid's off from school and you're like, hey, buddy, just sit in the lobby while dad works. You could work fine, but you have to admit you're like 1% distracted.
That's what I'm saying. There's a little sense of being distracted here, and it's also proof that she's going to be very involved in the UNC program moving forward. That's the other takeaway. But I'm not trying to compare his girlfriend to bring your kid to work day, but think about it. If I told you, Covino, it's spring break this week, my wife had a meeting or had to do something, I'm going to bring my son. Don't worry, he's going to sit in the lobby on his iPad the whole time. While I still do a great show with you, you don't think every break I'd go out there like, hey, buddy, you need some Cheetos? You need a juice box? You're still slightly distracted. And it's not even that either. Look, let's be very clear, too. Props to Bill Belichick. He's got himself a hot young girlfriend. All right? Let's be real about it. Good for you, dude. I'm glad you're having fun.
When you whisper it like that, it sounds creepier.
And
hot young girlfriend.
And,
do it like Joe Biden.
He's a legend.
Hot young girlfriend.
He's a legend. He's done it all. Great for him. But don't tell me, and this goes both ways. This isn't a sexist comment. If a guy is at the girl's workplace or if a guy's hanging out with the girls, it changes the dynamic. Meaning, Rich, if all the boys are hanging out and all of a sudden my girlfriend comes and she's all of a sudden hanging, we're not ribbing on each other the same way, right? And if we really wanted to go at it, there is a sense of, I don't want to do that in front of her, right? And it goes both ways. If girls are doing girl stuff and all of a sudden I come marching in, hey, ladies, what's going on? You don't think that's a dynamic shifter?
Of course, unless
so
you're,
to have like her there, maybe the coaches and the players, they feel like they can't approach Bill Belichick in the same way because it's in front of his girlfriend. Like, what if someone had like a serious conversation where they really wanted to be heated at Bill Belichick? Now they don't because she's there, and it could change things. And it does cause fodder that I don't think is necessarily helpful. But is that warranted? No, but that's just how life is because she's young and attractive and he's Bill Belichick.
All right, I'll give you an example, and then we'll take your feedback. We'll go to Dan Byer for an update. I think Bill Belichick could do whatever he wants, and I'll explain why.
Well, I mean, he is.
Give me the biggest sports talk show in the country. You could argue Dan Patrick, McAfee, Collins, Stephen A. Like the heavy. I'm talking like.
I would say that would be when you and I fill in for DP or fill in for Colin.
Covino Rich.
Yeah.
No, but if you're going to be real.
According to your statistics.
According to me and my family.
But if Dan Patrick or McAfee or Stephen A. or Colin or one of the biggest guys in the game, if someone said, let's say they retire, and then 102 point whatever the ticket was like, hey, can you do a local radio show once a week? You're a legend, and maybe you're bored. You want to keep doing this? And Colin's like, stars, fine. I'll do like a weekly Colin segment. He could show up there in his slippers, getting a massage while he's doing it. They just want him there. UNC just wants Bill Belichick there. That program was non-existent. Now, it's not only on the map, people are going to watch UNC games.
So it's kind of like they're so grateful to have him there that he could do whatever he wants. And we're seeing it.
He could, honestly, he could request the most ridiculous crap, and they'd be like, Mr. Belichick, I mean, it sounds a little crazy, but you got it, sir. Why would they not? Have you ever watched a UNC football game in your life? And the answer is no. You don't even need to think about it. The answer is no. Will you watch one this year? The answer is yes.
Well, okay. Mac Brown was coaching there previously.
No one cared.
No, they did. I mean, he had them definitely elevated from where they were prior.
I didn't care, and that's all that matters.
They were winning 8, 9, 10 games a year, but now it's like, oh, you got an NFL coach. Like Mac Brown won a national championship, but I'm just saying it wasn't completely desolate there.
Mac Brown banging a 24-year-old.
Whoa. No, but you know what? That's the other thing.
I hope not.
That's why this is very odd because she's the same age as actually around the same age as the players he coaches. And we've never seen any other significant other on the field with the coaching staff in this way at all. In fact, we often bring up the fact that Joe Montana used to call his wife on the sideline and thought that was odd. Bill Belichick has his hot young girlfriend right there with him.